Remember the Alamo, where help was on the way. It's better here and now. I feel that good today. I'd like to take a walk, not around the park. I've really got some news. I met a man from Mars. He picked up all my guitars and played me a traveling song. When we got off the ship, brought out something for the trip. He said it's old, but it's good, like any other primitive wood. Na 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 na. Ta-da.
Dude, that was amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, please introduce Josh Dion.
Thank you for having me. How you doing? Well, I'm gonna take. Maybe I should take these off.
Yeah, sure. Take those off. Hey, we've got
Intimacy.
a really cool lesson planned for you guys. If you guys haven't seen Josh Dion yet, you gotta check him out. He is what some people call a jazz drummer gone wrong. Is that right?
That's what I call me.
That's what you call you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know who he is, he's a drummer from New York, but more of a songwriter, singer. You're a musician.
I'm a musician.
And your band is called the Paris Monster.
It is in fact called that.
Yeah. If you guys want to follow them, check them out on Instagram. It's just at The Paris Monster on Instagram.
On Instagram.
And then it's at Josh Dion.
Yep.
And then their website is parismonster.com.
Yep. Be
sure to go and check them out and follow them. Huge thanks to the sponsors too. Yamaha for helping bring him out here. Meinl Cymbals, Vic for Sticks, Evans Drumheads. Yeah. Huge thanks. So
great stuff.
So we had a really cool lesson in store. We have done obviously tons of lessons just with drummers in here, but this is different. This is singing and drumming. Yeah. And just becoming a multi-instrumentalist, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting how many people still come up to me at a bar and say, "Oh my God, you're a singing drummer. You don't see that much." And I don't want to correct people too often, but you actually do see it a lot now. Yeah. It really is it has always been a thing, but especially now it's a serious thing. I mean, you see it so much that it's almost like, you know, let's get past it and focus on the music. You know, I think there's so many great artists out there who not only sing and drum but also multitask. I mean, and even if you're not a singer, the multitasking things that drummers do now is impressive. I mean, you see keyboards, you see pads, you see laptops, you see everything. So we've really moved down to a new place now. Exactly. And this just happens to be my version of whatever that is. So.
That's a very cool setup, and we got a lot more songs coming from Josh. And tomorrow, for all you guys watching live, we're going to do a whole performance. No teaching, no nothing, just him playing music, and that's going to be streamed as well as posted on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be on there as well. So especially, you know, drummers these days too, you're a lot more hireable if you can bring two skills to the table. Not just drumming, but singing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you want to do, but I will say that singing, especially if you're looking to be a part of a band, or if you want to get involved musically in a different sense, I think singing is a really It's a great thing. I mean, I've always thought to myself, like, you know, people say, oh my God, it's so hard. Well, if you think about the first two instruments that must have existed, I would say it was rhythm and singing. So it's kind of like, it's something that's been in cultures forever. I mean, I think that maybe rock music makes it a special thing, you know, but it really is a natural progression just to sing along with your rhythmic accompaniment, you know.
Right. I guess that's why you call the lesson primal instruments.
Primal instruments, yeah. I think that I think this exists in everybody in some sense. Which, you know, that excites me. You know what I mean? I think that makes me want to keep exploring it, and I think that it's kind of like years ago, drummers were like, you know, known as these musicians who didn't understand harmony or something, and it's kind of like, well, now drummers understand the full range of the piano, you know, and it's the kind of thing where it's like, well, now it's time to move past the drummers are just the friend of the band. Well, it's not really like that anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with learning something like if you're not a singer, but if you want to expand your musicality and you're a drummer, and I would say singing, you know, even if it's background vocals, learning how to blend with other singers. And you'd be surprised. I mean, a lot of the great background singing drummers actually have really high voices that cut, and it's like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's an awesome feature.
No doubt.
You know?
Well, this lesson, we're going to break down how you can even start with this skill of drumming and singing at the same time. You got some cool examples for us, some exercises, some tips and all that. Yeah. So hopefully you enjoy it. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, we also filmed a bunch of other extra lessons inside of Drumeo Edge on focusing on groove, songwriting, and some more goodies like that. So make sure you head on over to drumeo.com and check that out. But that being said, I'm going to leave it to you. Take it away, Josh, how to play drums and sing. Why should we even do that?
Why should we do it? Well, we're going to learn about, you want to learn about melody, you know, I mean, so therefore, if you've got a great groove and you've got a great melody, I mean, that's kind of the basic element of music, sans the harmony. But I mean, I think that having those two things can, you know, certainly, you know, that's the deal. That's what you want. So, I mean, that's one reason to do it. Yeah, the reason I do it is just because I discovered I could sing, and I was surrounded by people who were just really coming into their own in terms of their musical, you know, growth, and this happened to be one of the things that helped me do that. You know what I mean? Right. And I think that was what I was meant to be. So it's kind of like, you know, and it wasn't always, I mean, it wasn't always a strong feature. I mean, when I first started singing, I used to let the band vamp for God knows how long because I was, you know, afraid to take that step. You know what I mean? And that was back when my voice was all up here, and then as time goes, you learn how to sing notes forcefully and with you know, just well in tune, hopefully. We're going to attempt for that, but it's not entirely that. So, but that was my pathway when I discovered that I could do that, and it turned me into a songwriter in this whole new path of music, and has informed all the other aspects of my music too. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, it has to be something someone is interested in. Totally. But let alone, just rhythmically, it can be the kind of thing that helps your independence a lot. Just trying to sing something and play something underneath it. But then there's the whole thing of like, do you want to deliver a message, or are you delivering a song? I mean, because that's what you're there to do if you're going to sing. So, or blend with a band. You could be a background singer and right. be a part of the texture, you know? So these are reasons why to do it. Totally. You know.
So walk us through the steps. Like, where do you start? I mean, I guess even how you set up your kit and your posture, right? Like
posture. Yeah. I mean, you're sitting down for one thing. So it's like, you know, and you're like, I've got this kind of chesty, belting voice. So it's like I can blow out my voice really easy if I'm not careful, especially from behind the drums. You're bashing. Most of the time, I would say that keeping your center is really important, to just make sure you've got that filled up, to make sure you can sing and get a nice, you know, just your posture is important, although I probably don't think about it as much as I should. But I would say that you'll blow out your voice pretty easy if you shout from behind the drums on a nightly basis. And I still do. Sometimes I don't, if my monitor mix is off or something, it's like I'll overshoot. So, I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing you have to be careful of. I mean, you can set up your drums however you want. I tend to just, like even this cymbal right here, like I could miss it or I could hit this stand. I'm sure there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And that's how it goes when you're got a microphone in front of you. I mean, with my band, I actually have a straight mic in the center, which is just ridiculous. But I really got into this thing of like grabbing the vocal mic, and it's just hilarious. But it works for that band because the grooves I write for that band are mostly just for the left side of my body. So that's literally the band that I do that in. But yeah, I mean, it matters thinking about these things. I mean, I have a really traditional setup. I don't know if this helps or not, but over the years, my snare drum has moved up, and somehow my knee is kind of in this odd place that this is just what I think that this with the keyboard more, but I will say with setup, just get creative and just wherever it takes you, go for it as long as it's working. But you just got to think about your air and your sound and stuff. I mean, and then do whatever you want. But it's just another thing to add to the mix. And you definitely have to be on top of sound people, because nobody wants the mic to bleed in all the drums and stuff. So you really have to learn about sound and things and get the right monitor mix, get some in-ears, do whatever it takes to help yourself in that respect. So you're not raspy all the time. I mean, which I am anyway, but.
But you want that.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. But it's a thing. I mean, it's really a thing, because you are playing drums.
Right.
So,
So how do you practice this? How did you start? And like, what are some tips you can give us?
I mean, I just started by singing songs, so it's hard for me to go back to that. But I will say, tips. Well, take your favorite songs and start singing them for one thing. I know for me it was classic R&B that I used to sing, and I still sing, and I would just I hired a band or got my friends together basically, and just started to attempt to sing them. Things got really deep when I started to do it by myself too, when there's nowhere to hide. Ain't no sunshine. Let me get the right key. Oh, I turned that down. I was close. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. That was one I used to do all the time. And that's a pretty simple beat, but I would cop a lot of Bill Withers and stuff with like 16th note, slinky hi-hat, and I would work on it. And you want to work on getting a good tone in your voice, Try to get that whole tone, maybe even one, I know. And just like work on, that's just something that just popped in my head. I used to do that one all the time, and it really helped me, I think, kind of feel my whole body. It's a full body experience where, especially with drums, I mean, you're keeping something, oftentimes keeping something constant underneath you, and you can move about. I know. Hey, you wanna leave the young thing alone, 'cause there ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Just kind of, I would experiment with holding, and sing some stuff that you make up over top. Challenge yourself, displace the rhythm, record yourself, singing. Try to keep it in tune, keep it rhythmically, and then also the whole thing of rushing and dragging. I mean, a lot of times cats will try to do something and they won't quite make it, and I would practice with a metronome. I started bringing the metronome to gigs too. I got really into it for a while. Where I don't know if that hurt or helped. Sometimes I was a little neurotic about it, but it helped me on big stages and stuff. especially when I was singing, to kind of like just be aware of song to song, the tempo changes, and you're committing to something. You're committing to a tempo. I mean, recording yourself and listening back, there's just nothing better in terms of learning. You know, I would say that's the thing. But take a song that you really like, and a lot of times something really simple. And you know, I'm not like a jazz singer or something per se, but you know, if you wanted to, you could try to sing a standard. Try to keep time for yourself. You're accompanying yourself. You know, it's cool because you're in control of. You know, ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not the warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. You know, I mean, I did just kind of play underneath it, and just, you know, you get the song. So you have a pivot. You're underneath, you're doing something, and then you've got what's on top, or keep what's on top the same, and you can do something underneath to kind of, you know, feel your body. I mean, it's like those Gary Chafee books or something, or syncopation, where you're just trying to do that, but you're just trying to adding the fifth limb, you know, your voice on top of it, to try to, you know, it's all rhythm. It's all space that's being filled in, and you are just deciding.
You're adding an extra element to fill.
You're an extra element. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's how I would practice those kind of things sometimes. Or I mean, it could even be anywhere. I mean, it's like, you know, I was thinking of that Babylon Sisters, Steely Dan. There's that cool, I think it's like a grouping of 5 or something. And I was thinking like you could do. You got to shake it, baby. You got to shake it, baby. You got to shake it, baby. You know, like something like that. You can try to compose some exercises like that to challenge yourself.
Right.
Something along the lines of like, take a hook.
Yeah.
Sing it over. You got to shake it, baby. 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 You got to shake it. You got to shake it, baby. You got to shake it, baby. You got to shake it, baby. You know, like. Try to feel what what does it feel like to do this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like come up with your own exercises, or try these. You know.
Give us one that for like an absolute beginner.
Absolute beginner. Man, I would say keep a 4/4 beat and sing a song. Like, what's a song that everybody knows? You know. So you know. Don't get difficult until you're not singing. That's a good example right there. You know, I mean, that's a simple beat, and I mean, I think you just have to do it. It's hard. It's hard to imagine. I mean, you could have a book full of exercises too.
Yeah, for sure.
To do those kind of things. But the way I learned is just by singing songs. So that's the best advice I can give to at least get here. You know,
right.
But yeah, like I just thought of that one. That's a good example. You know, stuff where the drums are relatively simple. That's the way to do it. Hold down that groove and just try to feel, and then go back and listen to it, or you know, you get a metronome in your ear, maybe like a click or something to check your tempo. I don't know. I mean, I love doing that.
Yeah.
That's a fun practice.
Do you find that there's a certain skill level you need to be at as a drummer before you can start introducing your voice, or is this something you can dive into right away? Did you find you had struggles when you started?
Oh, man. I don't think there's any right way to do it. I mean, yeah, I struggled. I probably didn't even know I was struggling because, I mean, you know, I've just grown so much as a singer. I'm a drummer first. So the singing came later. So I've just come such a long way in the past decade that it's like hard to even go back and listen to what I was back then. You know, which still seemed cool to people probably, but like now I'm just like, dude, you know. So it's just a progression. So you just got to start. The most important thing is that you are delivering a message, a song. You're like, you know, you're giving something to the audience, and you're a front man. I mean, that's the thing. Right. You know, that's the difference. You're bringing the drums into the front. Right. You know, you're singing that song. So I mean, I think that's an important thing. Are you that person? You have to be. Kind of person. Unless you're going to sing, if we're talking about the band and being the blend, that's also another thing, which I'm actually far worse at. I can do it, but... Really? And, well, yeah, I mean, my voice is like, you know, I don't have a lot of upper register and stuff, and like it's, you know, I'm better served as a lead singer. I mean, I can blend with others, and I like that too, but I'm much more of just like, oh, here we are, and this is it, you know? So, and that's why, you know, I mean, that's why the Paris Monster is so cool, because there's only 2 of us. There's just so much space for everything, you know, and also improvisation. I really enjoy improvisation. So if I want to just go for something and just, you know, go wherever.
Less feet to step on.
Less feet to step on, More responsibility, but yeah, I would say just you pick some songs, get them together, go to jam sessions and try them out. You know, get together, book gigs, and I mean, I used to play gigs with instrumental music, and I'd sing a few songs. That's how I started. You know, just sing a few, kind of like just ease into it. You know, don't go crazy. I mean, if you're first starting out.
Now, before we do this lesson, you were showing me or talking about some of the things that you're doing. One of them was playing like a long note over top of a complex beat. Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about energy and stuff, and like
when I look into your eyes.
And then I was thinking like,
oh, no. Oh, no.
oh, no. How you can just, oh, no. I was just thinking of like the energy of when you peak on a note and you yourself are the person, oh, no, and it's like I'm holding that note, oh, you know, like it's all me right there. It's all this one person that has that responsibility of that energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that one fill underneath it. You're transferring energy. You know what I mean? And it's you're literally, you're doing all the work, you know, in that sense. And it's cool. It's a cool feeling, you know, to have that kind of responsibility in the music. So, I mean, some of my favorite recordings are when the drummer's singing and it, I don't know if you're familiar, but there's the Levon Helm of the band. Yes. Just the man for that. They're on their live album, Rock of Ages, they're playing Don't Do It, which is actually an old Motown song, but the band's version is just amazing. And there's a part where, what does he do? I can't remember what it is right now. No.
Oh yeah. Open up your heart. And he goes, open up your heart, girl.
And the way that he releases, open up your heart, and and it's like, I hear that recording and I'm like, I know what that must feel like. I mean, it's such a feeling of, it's a rush. And you listen to that moment where the band is building, and then he does that fill, and it's just a simple fill. Right. But there's something about the fact that it's him doing those two things. Right. Open up your heart, girl. And he plays that fill into that. And it's just, that's the magic of this. Right. That kind of stuff. Or Buddy Miles. Right. Buddy Miles on Band of Gypsies. You know, those kind of moments, like, that doesn't have, it's not the same thing if it's two people doing it.
So you do long notes over lots of playing physically while you're holding a long note. Do you ever do the opposite, you know, where you're practicing just playing something simple and singing a lot?
Yeah. That's just me practicing.
So cool.
That's
just you practicing.
That's me practicing.
Yeah.
You know, trying to, and like I'm hearing my pitch and being like, ah, you know, and or like whatever, like just trying to get something, pick something like an ostinato. I was also thinking about like doing some things you could sing something over and over again on top of something. Like for instance, this is a weird one, and but I have to share this because it's really cool.
Okay.
But for instance, if you're playing in 5, dotted quarters come around every 3 measures. Mm-hmm. So let's say we're in like. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about you could make your own exercises doing that kind. I should think about doing this. You know, you could make some cool exercises with whatever long rhythmic things will go over a certain beat. You could take that dotted quarter and you could incorporate that into everything that can go underneath it. For instance, that's my favorite. When I play in an odd time or something like that, I always think about the wide beat, mm-hmm. the longer feeling of that, and you can do the same thing with the voice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm singing that dotted quarter. Yeah. There's 3 measures of 5, and it's a dotted quarter. So what I'm trying to illustrate is that the voice is a rhythmic instrument too, and you can go over the bar line, and you can do all those kind of lovely things with it as well, and you're the one supporting it.
Totally.
You're literally the one supporting it, so it's a cool concept.
Do you mind playing us another song?
That's cool.
Let's do it. I'd love to hear another tune.
Okay.
And you got a couple prepared, so yeah, let's do one.
Okay. I'm gonna play this Vision Complete song because this is the thing that people have seemed to. Let me get this going. And this song is I like this one because of the rhythmic component of the melody and how it weaves and things like that. It's called A Vision Complete by Paris Monster.
Spend all this time on something without bringing it for lunch for no other reason than a vision turned up right. If not perfectly written with care and precision, then it won't take off flight. Oh, a vision complete, nothing in the distance. I had my share, never on one that could anyone unlatch. Hoping and bear to see what I see. What it says of me alone. Oh, that I might be an ass and I'm selfish, getting fat and deserve it. At the end of the day, over dinner in the face, I was searching. Then it was said together that I never found the time to preserve it. Especially, yeah, I'm a lucky man with a patient one beside me. The say there is such a pitiless hope to make it witty, never know what I might say. I'm not writing to please my family, oh no. If the woman would hold me still, it's wittier when we say I'm not writing to feed my family. But she might have a point, and I'll change it in the morning, I know this. She slaved through the day, and the dinner that she laid was ambitious. Oh no, the voice to be clear wasn't witty either, didn't I be boned enough to say, and not a cooking to please our family. And I might be an ass, but I'm not enough to act like a wise one. And I might like a wit, but I'm not enough to finish up the train. Oh no, but my words, to be fair, are precise and though I care, you know. I know what I might say. I'm not writing to please my family. I'm not writing to please my family. Oh no, I'm going in the zone. I'm writing to please my family.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm working. So I was trying to incorporate a couple of the things I was talking about actually, because you got me thinking. But transference of energy, man. That's a big one, because it's you doing it. So, and you've got all this at your fingertips. You know, I was being playful with that one, but dynamics are big. That's a big part of music, and as we all know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that was.
But I really playing keys at the same time. Like you're doing three things at once.
That's true. That's true. I am. I mean, you know, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment, really. But this song is cool because it's so simple, and it's cool because I've got this delay. Then you want to bring it. You can do all kinds of things. You can be like. I like the flange. That's my friend. This is my man. So I could just do that forever. I mean, I just love funk music and simple stuff. So I mean, there's way you can do more complex stuff, but for that song, that's what that is. And the cool thing about that one to me is the melody and the rhythmic component of the melody carries it. Mm-hmm. So it's really, this is almost, you know. It's not that essential. I change it all the time if I want to, which is great.
That's so cool.
If you forget something. But yeah, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, man.
There we go.
You got something special, that's for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're proud of it.
Yeah.
We're proud of it.
Yeah. So a couple questions for you. Drummers who are trying to get into singing, what happens when you lose your breath? I mean, it's a very physical activity, drumming alone, and now you're trying to sing too. Is there any tips you can give on how to focus that and plan your breathing? I don't know.
Breathing, I mean, especially when you work in the studio, I mean, you'll actually have to think about that kind of stuff, you know. And I need, you know, I'm kind of I'm not completely an untrained singer, but in many ways I am. There's things that I'm still grasping that are probably basic, you know, aspects of it, but. Oh, I do know that when I actually find my center and I'm coming from this region where you fill up your air, you know, you're gonna have a better tone and you're gonna have more air. And I mean, it's the thought. It's no different than this is a longer note than this. You know what I'm saying? It's like your length of notes are your music, and it's the same thing with the voice. I'm not writing to please my family. I'm not writing to please. I'm not writing to please. You know, it's like your length of notes can be staccato or legato. I mean, it's literally the same thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like that's how you plan your air. I happen to really be into short notes because I almost add syllables to words sometimes because it kind of makes me feel funky. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm not writing to please my family. I'm not writing to please my family. You know, like something like that where I'm almost ghosting. Like everything is ghost notes. It's all. I'm a drummer. It's like everything I do has a ghost note. You know what I mean? So I'm not writing to please my family. To understand, and no, You know what I'm saying? I'm coming, if you want to check out some artists that do those kind of things, Al Jarreau, Michael Jackson, I mean, that's where that kind of stuff comes from. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there, you know, so I'm you know, I'm taking that and figuring out how it works with this, and it makes it funky over top.
Right.
You know.
Right. Is there anything you do outside of the drums, practicing singing? Like when you are singing, say you're on a walk and you're singing, is it something you do with your hands, or is it something you can practice not being behind the drum kit?
Oh yeah, I mean you could do, well, like I mean if you're on the train or something, I mean you could just, I would try to do, you know, remember before, you got to shake it, baby, you got to shake it, baby, you got to shake it, baby, you got to just try some different. You gotta be sincere. You know, just trying to try some different things over it. Challenge yourself, some different rhythmic things over an ostinato that you hold for yourself. I got to get back into Hindemith. There's a composer that had all these amazing rhythmic exercises.
Right.
And I would say that, you know, you could just take any of those types of things, or the syncopation book, and you could, I'm sure you could somehow work the voice into it. I mean, honestly, I think if you just sing songs over different things,
that's the best approach.
Because the thing about drumming is, what are we doing? Well, we're grooving, which is what? You protect the groove. You want it to be that swampy thing that feels good. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you maintain that and sing? I mean, you just have to do it.
Right.
So I think that it's really holding something while delivering the song. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's a wild thing, but that's really what you're doing, and you don't want either one to suffer.
Right.
So,
do you have a focus one over the other when you're playing, or is it all just one? Like, is there one thing that if you're going to mess up, let's at least mess this up? Or, like, how do you think about it when you're doing both?
Whew. I mean, it's hard because I would say that I don't think about it. And I think that when I do, it probably is not good. But I think that I do think that it can become one organism. You know what I mean? But your natural instinct on the drums should know if things are lagging. You know what I mean? So you can't lose track of that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, you'll let it sink, or you'll, you know, and I'm all for moving the tempo. I'm not saying you have to be like perfect or anything. I think that it's more about being with the people that you're on stage with, you know, being present with them and listening and like grooving with them as a whole. Get up on that mic. Don't be afraid, but relax. I mean, you want to force it because you're doing all this and you know, but it's really like, I'm trying to tell myself, just chill out. The best shows I play are when I'm just like, my pulse is like nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I freak out, and then it becomes a thing, and it's like, I, you know, sweat through an entire outfit, and it's like, okay, now that's fun too. But I think that relaxing is big. That you'll get better airflow that way. You know, you're going to get a better tone that way. I mean, unless you're just shouting, which is also cool.
Yeah.
You know, but
I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's really a lot to it, and it can't develop unless you're just doing it. Get some songs together, you know, figure out what the tempo that feels good to sing. I mean, you're the one that knows. That's the thing that's great, because as a drummer, when you accompany singers, you're gonna know. You're gonna know. If a singer is not comfortable with the tempo, my radar, boom. These days, I'm just like, oh shit, they're unhappy. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell it's too fast or it's too slow or whatever. It's like, so your radar will go up because you'll know what it feels like.
Right.
Or this rhythm is too fast at this tempo. We can't do this, you know. So there's all these decisions that have to be made, you know, and your instinct will start to, you know, develop with those kind of situations. You know?
Now, you mentioned one thing you wanted to talk about is singing over a shuffle. Why is that so tough? Yeah,
I thought
about that.
I thought about it, man, just because. I mean, it shouldn't be tough, But I was thinking about ghost notes and stuff. Singing over a shuffle seems like it's... I'm going to do that.
When you got a good friend that will stay right by your side. When you got a good friend that will stay right by your side. Will give you all your spare time, love and treat you right. When you got a good friend, 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 when you got a good friend.
You know, I'm just thinking about some shit like that where it's like, throw a wrench in it. You know what I mean? Like, get it feeling good, but like try to, I think that's a great, I mean, I need to do that more. Like that was just, haven't done that in a while actually, and it's just kind of like, because you're keeping, you're trying to swing. You know what I mean? So you have to sing over that. I mean, that's a pretty busy beat. So there's, you know, I think singing over a shuffle is a really cool thing to do. You got to shake it, baby. You got to shake it. You know, you could keep doing that one. You know, it's like choose anything. Really choose anything. But I love blues. I mean, I grew up on blues. I discovered it when I was really young. So I think that groove, or you know, a lot of ones when I do at clinics are, you know. To me, it's like that swing, you know. It's like, man, you're really in it. You're dancing. You're dancing, you know, and you're kind of shouting on top of it. So it's a thing. These busier beats, aside from the regular kind of, you know, eighth note rock stuff. It's always physical though. You know what I mean? But the reason I brought up the shuffle is because of the ghosting element and the fact that it's swinging and I guess singing triplets and subdivisions over top of that would be a challenge. I would think that would be a good thing to work on.
Big time. You
know.
What about something like 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover?
Right, we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that one too.
Okay, let me try that. Oh, that's the wrong. Well, I'm not gonna play keyboard. That'd be stupid. But don't. The problem is all inside. So I think it's like, I don't play the beat correctly, but it's like.
The problem is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy if you take it logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave a lover.
You know, so I'm thinking, I remember I was on cover gigs and I would call that song. Be like, how am I going to pull this off? I mean, I don't know the exact way that Gad did it. I'm just kind of doing whatever it sounds like to me. But it's like, I got... So it's like the, you know, I'm doing with the foot. You know, don't learn it this way. Don't learn it this way. But I'm just saying, like, take a song. If you really want to challenge yourself, I found singing that song was really difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's just like some of those famous, you know, some famous drum pieces. You know, oh, could I even do it?
So vaccination.
You know, something like that. Yeah.
So vaccination. So vaccination.
That's a bad example.
All I wanna do in the makeup in the morning is see your eyes. You know, all I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. Rosanna, Rosanna. Never do that, you know,
like that. Man.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. Rosanna, Rosanna.
You could try doing some shit like that. They really throw yourself like that's tricky, man.
Mm-hmm. You know, you got to be able to play the beat first.
Yeah.
Before you can even add the element of singing in. I mean,
I'm gonna work on that soul vaccination.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I'm just saying, like anything that's rhythmic like that, that's like a hook. Like you got to play that drum groove at least close enough where it sounds like it. In my book, I mean, I'm not super studied with the different ways that people played things, but I know 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover was a real challenge for me, and I also love that one because the beat is so. It's just like Gad's like one of my favorite drummers. I mean, it's just so much touch, and the singing is just the problem is all inside your head. She said to me, it's so light. I'm like, that's a great one. That's a great one to. Because it doesn't always have to be bombastic, So it's like that's some beautiful stuff, But I really learned a lot from singing and drumming by doing cover gigs. I really did. I was, like we had talked earlier. I mean, I made more money sometimes, and I mean, I'm just saying it is a thing. People, for certain kinds of music, they're gonna want you because you have that ability, and find different ways to be creative. Right. You know what I mean? Aside from just being a great drummer and developing your sound on drums, or being a singer and developing your sound as a singer, I know I really supported myself over the years being a lead singer who played drums, and that was what my little thing I carved out. So
no doubt,
I think it's a thing, man.
Well, you definitely got something unique going for you now. I mean, you're blowing up online. Hopefully, I wish you all the best with Paris Monster and all that.
Oh, thanks. We got a new album coming out next year. Things are starting to take off, and we're really excited. We've been really working on it. So
yeah, very cool. So to recap, and we're running out of time. I'll get you to play one more song for us out. But to recap, what kind of tips would you give for the members watching, beginner drummers all the way to advanced, how you can better yourself and start getting into singing and drumming?
How we can just get into it. How we can get into it. Well, I mean, I would just say, start a band. You know what I mean? Like I would get some songs together, and make some choices. I would say play along the records. Take it. Make yourself. Sit down at the piano, figure out the melodies of the songs. You know what I mean? Like, and kind of do a little homework as to maybe what's actually happening. If the melody is like beyond a bluesy melody, like try to figure out what chord tones the melody hits, and try to sing that by yourself without the piano afterwards. Like try to challenge yourself to get better with your ear training and things like that, and then see if you can sing it without the piano, sing it with just the drums. I will say this: if you can sing a song and play it by yourself, when you get with a band, you really know that song.
Right.
You really know it.
Yeah.
And learn the songs, learn the harmony of the songs. Like learn them completely, and you will thank yourself. You know what I mean? So understand, you got to know the changes. I mean, because now if somebody doesn't know it, you've got to be able to yell at them and the 4 chord or whatever. I mean, you have to know that kind of stuff. So these are all the things to think about if you're going to get serious about it. Right. You know what I'm saying? And
I know a lot of drummers, they focus so much of their time on technique and rhythm and note values and stuff. But now you got to get into the more melodic stuff, like you just said, the 4th chord. How many drummers even know what that is, right?
Right.
So you got to learn a little bit of that. You said practice with the metronome, obviously.
Metronome is your friend, man.
Long notes on your voice while playing complex stuff underneath, and then complex stuff underneath while doing short notes on top. Or did I say that the wrong way?
And both of those. I mean, you could sing scales. You could sing scales over, na 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 na, In my heart there rings a melody. Like a beat. Maybe pick a beat. Like that beat is a beat I play all the time. So like I'm gonna naturally play it well because I'm just gonna kind of autopilot. Sing. Right. Practice your scales over that. And then, of course, the energy of holding the note, which is more of a nuance. That's more of an extra thing. But, like, I think the most important thing is to remember that you are in charge of the energy. So it's like if you want to have a moment where the music flourishes and you're the singer, well, that's up to you, and the drums can accompany that. You know what I mean? So I think that's a real cool aspect of it.
Very cool, man. Yeah. Love it. Tons of little tips in there, guys. Josh, you're obviously a very artistic guy. You've been doing this for a long time.
I have, yeah.
And you can see it. Your experience is there. Even down to like sitting properly, having good posture, you know, getting a good breath in there. Like some of the simple things that you wouldn't even think of, you know, where are you going to put your mic, you know?
Yeah. No, and I mean, it all matters. And I can't stress enough, like just learning the full aspect of music, you know, the textures of section to section and what the chords are and stuff. I mean, that really changed my whole thing, man, once I started to be able to hear those things. And once we're talking about simple stuff, I'm not talking about crazy jazz or anything like that. That's another thing too. But I'm just saying, like, starting to understand the color between 1, 4, and 5 and the 2 chord and the 6 chord and knowing where things go. And you know, it's going to be so easy not only to direct a band, but to learn other people's music if you want to gig. You know, you could listen to a song one time, be like, oh, it sounds like it's around 80 BPM because you know what that is. And it's in this key and these are the chords and blah, blah, blah. I mean, these are real fundamental things that like we overlook sometimes. Yeah. You know.
Dude, thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you. This has been an awesome day.
Yeah, it's very cool. So. It's something unique. I'm so glad we got you out here. Me and Jared have both seen you on YouTube. I don't know how long ago, and we just been wanting to get you out for so long.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Glad it finally happened.
Thank you, guys.
Next time you come out, you're going to have to show us how to play drums and keyboard at the same time. I wanted to do both, but we didn't have time for both.
Well, give me a little time to work on it then. That's good.
No, you sound great. So for everyone watching live, tomorrow we're going to be live again for just a performance. We'll also get to some questions that we might have missed in here. I know some of the Edge members have asked about the keyboard. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, it's going to be on YouTube as well. But we do have a lot of cool things that we're filming with Josh inside of Drumeo Edge. So make sure you check that out. And again, huge thanks, Yamaha, Meinl, Vic Firth, and Evans.
Good sounds.
Yes. And check Josh out at the
Paris Monster. The Instagram is the Paris Monster.
And the website is just
parismonster.com. It's really easy to find.
Yeah.
And there's lots of videos up there. That is my band with the great Geoff Kraly. I want to let you know that all of this exists because of that band. This is not something that I just thought. This was derived. This was, you know, this is a concept for a sound, not just to do it. So it's to do it for that.
Love it.
And now to do it for everything, apparently. But yeah.
Am I missing anything? Are we missing anything?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I mean, I just, you know.
Hit everything.
Yeah.
All right, so hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, follow Josh. I will see you guys all later. We're going to let you play us out with something. I'm going to get out of here, and then you can just have fun. You know, take your time, play something cool. You are so groovy. I can just listen to you all day.
Well,
bye, everyone.
All right, what are we going to do here? Let's get a different sound.
apologize? Will she sympathize with me? Dare I apologize? Will she sympathize with me? She my brother's woman, sweet as a girl can be. No, no, no. Sweet as a girl can be. No, no, no. Sweet as a girl can be. Oh, man.